Good morning YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks very much for joining me on this shorter video, which is a review of the recently installed DNA Air Filter. Go and have a look at that video up there somewhere. If you want to have a look at how to install that, it's really easy. It takes about 5 or 6 minutes. And yeah, so what exactly do I think? Now, there's been a lot of conjecture and discussion in the comments on that video about whether it's a sensible thing to install, whether it's going to validate the warranty. Some people saying that it's cost, obviously, Honda millions of pounds to develop the fueling on these bikes. But I want to make it very clear that I've been riding bikes for a very, very long time, since the 70s or 80s, and I can tell you now that motorcycle manufacturers do not spend millions of pounds developing their motorcycle fueling. What they have to do is negate the restrictions which are imposed by the European Union predominantly for restricting the emissions mainly from carbon dioxide and other emissions, hence the catalytic converters and that kind of thing. Noise, yes, of course, they've got to restrict noise as well, and this is why you get all the baffling and why you get all the bread boxes underneath modern bikes, because they have to control the emissions for both emissions, gas emissions and sound. And yes, they do spend a lot of money on research and development. Yes, I agree with that, because they want to make sure the bike is going to run in an acceptably good way. Of course they do. So I agree completely with Stuart Fittingham. Look at his channel up here. When he installed his Yoshimura exhaust on the very same bike I've got here, the GB350S, and he has seen some real benefits, felt some real benefits, which I am now feeling with the installation of this DNA air filter. The removal and exchange of the stock filter has a positive impact on the pickup and the fueling of this bike. DNA would not spend all their research and development costs on developing a filter if it wasn't worth them doing it. And I can tell you now, from somebody who's now put something like, I would say about 700 miles on this bike since I've had it. It's now got about 1800 or so miles on it, and I can tell you I've noticed the difference very, very clearly. I mean, I'm doing 20 miles an hour in second gear here. That's third gear at 20 miles an hour. No complaints. That's at 20 miles an hour. That was impossible before. I couldn't put it in, and I can't put it in third gear. I couldn't put it in third gear easily at 20. It's okay at third, at 30 rather, but not at 20. Here it is in third gear at 20 miles an hour. This is 30 coming in now, and I'm accelerating, and strongly. I'm now into fourth. That's at 30 miles an hour in fourth gear. So I'm now at 40 miles an hour, and I can now put it into fifth. I would never have bothered putting it into fifth before. I just wouldn't have bothered, but I'm now in fifth gear and going up quite a steep hill. It's not going to be made very obvious I'm going up a hill, not with this camera. But here we go, I'm going up a hill in fifth, in 40 miles an hour. So this DNA air filter can allow up to 85% more air to go through the airbox. The ECU will compensate. It will. It will enrich in the mixture and balance it back for you. And for those people complaining about particulates going through the engine and doing damage to the engine, The DNA air filters use a special gauze and cotton fabric, and the oil they use has been specially formulated to generate a static charge on that air filter, and it is even more efficient in collecting particulates that could otherwise enter the engine. So that is resolved as well. So, would I recommend this DNA air filter for GB350S owners? Absolutely. It is a stronger mid-range, it is better at the bottom end, and it's better at the top end. I'm doing 60 miles an hour here with plenty of go in this engine if I want to, in 5th gear. If you want a little bit more, what shall I say, urgency in the engine, and a little bit more flexibility, then I would urge you to put a DNA air filter in this bike, and even put an exhaust on as well. Because if you think about it, if you put a DNA air filter in this bike and you put the exhaust on, not only are you de-restricting the air going into the bike, you're de-restricting the air coming out, or the emissions. Of course, the ultimate would be to remove the catalytic converter as well, and then you really have got a fully de-restricted bike. But of course, the bike is only £4,000 to buy, and you've got to consider whether you think it's worthwhile doing all these modifications. So here we are in 3rd gear at 30 miles an hour, and it just wants to accelerate away quite happily. That used to be like that as well before, but it wasn't anywhere near as urgent as it is now. And I love the sound it makes as well. Now I'm going to put the microphone onto the back bag which I've got, which I did before with my raw sound videos, and you can tell the difference. So you guys, in terms of the sound, I think it sounds a bit more throaty. What do you think? So that was the sort of demonstration of the sound. Now whether that sounds any more sort of throaty or not, I'm not entirely sure. It's quite nice if it does. I like the sound of the bike anyway. Will I fit an aftermarket exhaust? Well, I'm tempted and do the same as Stuart. And I absolutely agree that the Yoshimura looks great. Am I going the right way? Lol. Oh well, we'll soon find out. I like the Yoshimura, but it's really expensive. I think it's about 400 odd pounds for a Yoshimura. Plus, probably. Another thing to update you on is that this USB module which I installed, working really well. That's keeping my phone charged up nicely. So really pleased with that. That's working like a treat. So I know people wanted me to do this update since I installed the DNA Air Filter. We have no emission lights coming up on the dash, which is even better news. It certainly hasn't returned. These gloves are really great as well. I highly recommend the Rideiron gloves. The Bingley reader, he's got some really good deals at the moment for some gloves. I'll stick his details up here. And I highly recommend them. They're very good if you haven't got heated grips. The only thing I will say about them is, as I said before, they don't heat all the way to the ends of the fingertips. Well, I haven't experienced that on mine. And I suppose the other thing is that you've got to look down and make sure you press that cancellation button on the indicator, because they're quite thick. And sometimes when you think you've pressed the button to cancel the indicator, you really haven't. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video in this short update on the DNA Air Filter installation. I think it's been a great success. Please keep your comments respectful, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.